Hey guys, here with another Road to Masters. I'm currently ranked 37 in North America. Apologies for not starting at the very beginning of the video. We just we had some audio issues at the beginning, but welcome back to the Road to Masters video. I'm really excited. I'm going to try to be pumping these out a lot, like I've mentioned before. And I think it's really important that I play in your guys' elo so that you guys can see how to play in your games as well. So a couple of my videos got messed up, but hopefully the quality has gone up with my editor doing it. So please give me feedback on that. And as always, please like and subscribe. It really helps the algorithm. So I really appreciate it. Right now, it looks pretty clear that we have some sort of AD opener with a Primordian. We have 3 Primordian, which is really good. I think we could consider this, and it could be a fun game, but I want to teach you guys how to play solidly, less so how to play kind of crazy. This will be a very boring game, me just opening the entire time. We have a really good opener right here, and we should play around it. We have a Cho 2, and then we're going to level for Primordian. Should be very strong. So with that in mind, we really want items to, increase that effect of being strong. There's also Treasure Hunt, which I think is generically okay. As well, it's a reroll augment, has a high cap, but I'm always about playing solid, and I think here we just have 3 Primordian here, which is really good. Yeah, we do have interesting items to make here. I'm not really sure what to do with this, to be totally honest. It looks like it has to be blue buff Gunblade here. So you can miss on the salvage. That is definitely very possible. So right now I'm looking to add an AP guy to my board. I think Gwen makes a lot of sense. I think we will be trying to play this tempo. I was thinking about playing Primordian reroll, but my level was a bit too good, and then also now my items are looking quite bad for it. So I was thinking about playing Primordian reroll with Briar 2, Rek'Sai 2, all that good stuff, but we could have thought about Cho reroll, but my level felt a bit too good there, in my opinion. We'll need to think about what we need to slam here, but just basing myself off intuition here, I think blue buff IE might be reasonable, blue buff Gunblade might be reasonable, but we just want to slam, and we'll fix my items later. I want to position more towards the right here. I personally just feel like most people default right here, so putting your strongest tank here is quite good. We never need to slam. I think ideally I want to level for this Gwen, and then I can put items on her, the blue buff Gunblade and the blue buff JG. Any combination of my items looks better, and in all these fights we've played, I don't need to slam. I think people slam preemptively. It's really good to want to slam your components. When you have 5 components sitting on bench, when you're playing salvage bin, you really do want to do that, but if there's no point to slamming, you really don't need to at the end of the day. I don't think we really need to think about Cho 3 at all. It doesn't really make much sense on my current board. I think we could even double level for this rogue if we're really afraid. People naturally are turning 4 on this level. Looking around, I'm not too afraid. Maybe this Teemo guy is a bit scary, but other than that, everyone looks fairly weak, and I can slam my items at the worst case and remove her if I'm that concerned. We can also maybe head into Darkstar. Darkstar is like quite good, and we also have Kaisa items in theory. So I'm a bit afraid here, so we're gonna just slam. Don't know what my best combination of items are here, to be totally honest, but I'm pretty sure I'm gonna try to get off this and go more into Darkstar anyways. We might lose our streak here, which would be absolutely disastrous, but they do have an item augment as well. So that's going to be really unfortunate for us, but no problem. We can't streak every single game. I think a lot of my videos I'm streaking in all my games. I could have forced a streak here, I think, by leveling for rogue, but it's not super obvious to me that we need to do it. If you want to do it in your game, that I think it's pretty reasonable. I think we could 5 streak a lot of the time there, but here I don't think we need to. Looking at this, I think this just has too much upside. It gives a Reforger as well. Not really sure how to proc it entirely, but just seems like something that would be really good. Here, we already leveled, so Cho'Gath 3 is not in the cards for us, in my opinion. We also don't have Cho'Gath items, so I think a lot of people would be like, oh, Cho'Gath 3, Cho'Gath 3, Cho'Gath 3, that's totally a possibility. But I think one pair here gets us a lot further. Just going into Cho just seems a little fruitless. I know we lost, but the level is quite cheap. I'm gonna, in fact, break this down. You can't remove her in the middle of the fight, so that is something to consider. I see GS, blue buff, and Jeweled Gauntlet here is kind of what I was thinking about here, mostly. With this, I think I want to put my strongest tank over here. Cho's not really a tank, and if I want the big knock-up, I should probably We probably didn't need to slam here, so apologies. I thought they had birthday reunion, so I thought they would have a 2-star 4 costs, or 2-star 2 costs, sorry. But that was not the case. They must have thrown away their present. They didn't like their present. On a separate note, I don't think I'm always the best gift receiver. I don't think I like my birthday presents oftentimes. We would have ended up with this anyways. You know, what's pretty interesting here is that we can end up still playing Primordial Reroll. I don't think it makes a lot of sense for my spots, but it is a good line. It is a good line. The problem is my items are just not very good. But with Salvage Bin, you can kind of always remake your items, and we can play around Gwen 3 instead and play that variation. Looking at my matchups, we're probably pretty strong. We do need to slam against this person and this person, but we'll see what it holds. I do want a 2-streak here. 2-streaking is a lot of money. They have no item slam, so maybe this is overkill. And we definitely could have pre-pumped to do this. Actually, they're playing Primordial Reroll, right? They have an Ornn on their board, so they will be playing Primordial Reroll. It's okay. We won't contest them. If we're gonna give up on the 3 costs, no reason. The 4th and the 5th Cho'Gath, or the 4th and the 5th Rek'Sai don't really matter all too much, right? So we want to keep our options open. This could keep us into 4 Bruiser as well. I think we're always going to be in 3 Primordial just because, yeah, the money is too good. The money is just straight up too good. I think we want to think about going into Darkstar here, but I'm not entirely sure. Flex TFT is not always the most popular thing to do. I think it's really, really hard, but we have Salvage Bin, we have a board, our good lines are contested, so, you know, sometimes people are no scout, no pivot, we can't play into it, so we have to figure something else out. Sometimes we're the figure something else out type of people. Unfortunately, if you don't like to contest people, you end up being the figure out something else guy very often, and it's a tough place to be. It's not an ideal place to be. I think we could think about this, but I'm actually not that keen. I don't think LeBlanc is that good. We do have a Rageblade hiding in here, but I'm honestly not that interested. I think this board is just as strong, if not stronger. Yeah. We do have 4 Bruiser as a possibility here. I don't really love it, but I think Bow makes sense to slam here. With Salvage Bin, you can always kind of slam, and it'd be no problem. Against this board, do we need a slam? It's kind of unclear to me. I'm not the best fight judger. Never hurts with Salvage Bin, and Bow is a good item, so I personally have no problem with it. Yeah. We will need to decide, do we want to hold the Bruisers or do we want to hold the Rost? Rost is probably stronger board right now, so I'm kind of keen on holding Rost here and selling this. I think something we're really, really looking for, I mean, Group Hug is just exceptionally good, but we have so many tiers, it's very, very awkward, to say the least. We should probably check the Stargazer as well, the Boar. I don't think that's a good Lulu one, so we're kind of out of luck here. I think Group Hug is maybe a bit too good here on my current board. Spreading Roots now can solve my direction problem, so I was struggling to find a line. I don't really believe in AP Flex, so I think Spreading Roots solves most of my problems here. Group Hug is stronger on my board. Too tanky could be interesting with like Samira or something like that, but I'm just going to go ahead and click Spreading Roots. Maybe we can get something good going here. I don't know why I'm positioned like I have Group Hug, though. Space Groove, you sounds good to me. So we have Voyager and Space Groove spat. Space Groove got nerfed, and if we generically just believe like, oh, I'm not that keen on it, you know, I heard it was bad, like I think we can just go off that and not play around it. Voyager is like probably too good to pass up. It's generically really, really good, I would say, and just makes a lot of sense. We could just go into Space Groove, that is what we are closest to, but then the Voyager spat is a little out of whack. So we do have to kind of make a decision here in like what we are closer to or what makes sense on our board or which direction we think is stronger, right? It could be some combination of all these. I'm gonna put Voyager spat on a carry. I think it should have been Briar, and they should have the Voyager spat, but this ends up giving stats to either my tanks, my front line here, or the other way. So I think Briar would have been flexible into that. But that being said here, we're probably just gonna do this and call it a day. This would be stronger board, I'm pretty sure, than Rost, so apologies. 3 Space Group doesn't do that much, but it's probably better than Rost here. I did see this Pike, but I think my Gwen's gonna fly around, so I'm not gonna have a furthest target, so no problem. This Pike was a problem in the early game. last time, but not a problem here. I think we do want to reforge for a bit of direction for the space group spat, but now I don't want to remove. So we're in an awkward space. Maybe we'll reforge the emblem a bit later into the game, I think. I know a lot of people are really afraid of emblems and you might get in tricky spots, but for me, that's one of the most fun things in TFT is to be dizzy. And personally, I just didn't see a line I was going to play here that I was super happy about. I don't really like AP Flex this meta without some exceptional thing here. And this combined with the fact that we have Aurelian Soul trait quest should be like a bit enticing for us. I'm not really sure what we want here. This is golds. This has some upside. Maybe we can get some crazy units here. Maybe not. We are too high of a pick, so maybe this was actually a bad choice. Looking back, it was probably the A soul and 10 gold actually, because we're too high of a pick. If we're a lower pick, then we could get 2 copies of a 4 cost, and that could be really interesting. Minimally, it's a lot of gold as well. So I think I chose the wrong one here. Kind of yapping about. We definitely want to get as many traits in here as possible, because we need to fit in the thing, right? So maybe this is how we can fit in our board here. And we're just going to keep everything on bench right now. I think keeping everything makes a lot of sense just because... Isn't Challenger whole board better or is Darkstar whole board better? Not sure. And if we were truly playing strongest, we'd probably find some better combination of items here. I'm going to just slam JG right now on the Belveth. I know it probably doesn't do much here in this fight, but I kind of doubt we're keeping the Belveth for a long time, and we might as well make strongest here. I'm hoping my Gwen can wrap something. She cannot. So we're going to lose our streak again. So this game isn't some crazy high roll game. People are making really, really strong boards here. I think this is an incredibly strong board. So we definitely want to give that up. 2 Rost makes a lot of sense when I'm going to have 3 emblems. So the likelihood that I can use Rost is pretty high. Let's go ahead and see what we get from the thing. Bastion, man, Bastion's really good, just generically. I think we have 2 Reforgers. I'm almost willing to just go for a Darkstar spat here. I know that that's one of the strongest lines, and I have 2 ways to hit it. We'll see. I think it's pretty interesting to do that here. Bastion fits on my current board, but again, I don't really believe in Space Groove, even though we're kind of in Space Groove. We have a lot of Space Groovians. It does make a lot of sense. I just don't know if I believe in the comp, right? I think you have to believe in the comp for it to be good. And with the nerf, I'm not sure I entirely believe it, but you know, looking at my items, it looks really reasonable. So I'm trying to convince myself to want to play it. And then instead reforge the Voyager spats. Bastion spat does fit. I don't know. I really want to convince myself to play Space Groove, but yeah, it does make a lot of sense. It does make a lot of sense. I'm kind of like going back and forth in my head about it. Emblems are hard for everyone to play around, not just you guys. It's hard for everyone, right? So I'm gonna try to see what my augments give. I think forcing a Darkstar spat might be hard. This guy's also Darkstar. Space Grooves are a bit more open, so even if I don't believe in the line, we are really close to it in theory, and the emblems are kind of telling me, and my items are also telling me that that is an AP line that exists. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and do it. I'm trying to teach you guys always solid TFT, and I just believe in solid TFT, so we should go ahead and do what is closest to us. I think it's really important that we always find something that's closest to us. And here, this is close to us. We have JG also floating around as well. Probably should have held the Ramus, apologies. We're going to make some nonsensical items now, but that's totally okay because we are planning on doing something else with our items. We are planning on doing something else. I plan on reforging the Voyager spats, but I'm not sure if that one's entirely correct as well. We have a pretty reasonable board. Let's start planning. I think game planning is really important, so really need the Nasus, get all the Space Grooves on here. And then we really want Pantheon and Brawler Guy. Rost would love to fit on this board somehow, but Riven is kind of the crux of it. I'm not sure where all my items are going. We can think about this, but JG Nashers is here. We have a Void Staff hiding in here. Don't know where our Riven items exactly are, but we have a Gunblade hiding in here as well. So Void Staff and Gunblade, a lot of items are hidden in here with the salvage bin. Really hard to think about, but just start thinking about your key items first and think about not reforging too much, to be totally honest. So I already have JG Nashers. I could have probably made stronger items on my current board, but to just avoid dizziness, I think it's really important. And in fact, to avoid dizziness, I'm going to get rid of some stuff as well here. I'm not really sure what the best augment is here. Uplink makes some amount of sense. I have so many... Mana regen is good. Healing orbs also makes a lot of sense. I don't know between this one and this one. They're both combat. I'm going to go ahead and choose healing orbs. Don't really want to hold that. One is very, very good. We need to find one... I missed the Rammus. We need to find one... What's it called? So maybe I leveled preemptively here. Maybe we leveled a bit preemptively here. Voyager Spat. We're not playing super flexibly on this roll down. This is definitely true. Darkstar, we could have used this earlier, but I think it is a bit late. We have committed into the what's it called, direction, so let's just commit, you know. At some point you've got to commit, and I've already rolled for all the space grooves, and we're pretty deep into space grooves as well. So we don't have the best board of all time. I'm wondering if I should have waited to level here. I felt like one Nami, one Ribbon, and one Ornn was probably going to be good enough, but it's looking through it's probably not enough gold. You can never use too much gold in TFT, and in fact we have no gold econ augments here, so we probably should have waited with our HP, and we had a pretty solid board, so not the best thing. This makes a lot of sense. This is probably the best Bastion to be playing on my board. I know that Rammus is paired, but it's not something we're super interested in. I think now we can start getting off this and hopefully start playing a real board here. We're missing a Space Groovy in here. Sorry, I know that we must put JG here. We're just gonna put the Meeple Spat here for now. It's an AD meta, so Ramble can't be that bad. I do think we want to think about our items a bit more here. I don't think we have the best items here, but yeah, we could have made better items here. I think we need to snip my Gwen items is kind of the main thing that I'm looking at. But Gwen 2 is probably stronger than Riven for a very, very long time, to be totally honest. But I do think we want to snip her items and try to get a Void Staff here and Gunblade. Very hard game, very hard turns, I think. This is straight money. How bad could this be? This is also money, but it's just very deferred. But which one do we want longer term? Longer term, we probably want this one, but I think we're so far away from 9. I'm going to take Varus, and HP can't be that bad on a board that scales a lot, right? It can't be that bad. Here I'm thinking about getting into Gunblade here, or getting into BT actually might make sense. Maybe BT Spark makes some sense here. Riven really wants BT. She wants to like kind of drain tank it up, and then we'll have an open rod here. We don't have Morello or anything. We just have to take this, right, and then sell it. Not actually sure how it works. Okay, now is a perfect time to reforge these. We have a Riven 2 for a very, very long time. We can think about what items are best. I'm gonna put Void Staff here. Trying to just think one thing at a time. We do want healing. But I am thinking that this is a bit better for now. Blue buff would have been a lot better on Nami, so I think I'm going to win this fight anyways. I could be wrong, but their board looks fairly weak to me. I think Void Staff should probably go on Gwen. With Space Groove, I know Riven likes a lot of sustain, but she'll have sustain through healing orbs potentially, and maybe more importantly, it's better for my item economy here. Yeah, this is better for my overall item economy. I do think I want BT eventually on here, but we do have a duo carry here with Gwen. I think people underrate Gwen. All the upgrades matter on your board. They truly, truly do. Blue buff here makes a lot of sense. We don't really have frontline items here, so that is something to consider, is that we don't really have frontline items. But I wonder if this is any better, and then we fit more tanks in here. Probably just I'm chill with all my carries getting buffed. I think that's probably the most important thing. we do need to make massive upgrades to my front line. I do think that that is kind of a problem here. But yeah, I think Ornn really wants to be replaced by 3 Bastion does nothing. I think 4 Bastion is pretty useless as well, if we're being completely honest. So yeah, hopefully you see that we put our best items on our best units here. We also don't have anti-heal. Definitely need to get that cooking, right? I'm just now realizing we don't have anti-heal as well, which I am the anti-heal guy, and I have always a suspicious little amount of anti-heal, but we don't have a ton of belts here, I will say. So we're either going to need to find straight up anti-heal on here or somehow a BT on here. Both would be really, really good. So this is straight up a BT and a bunch of gold here. Let's see what Tahm Kench gives me. That's pretty good. Upgrades both my front line. This gives me a straight up BT and a bunch of gold to maybe cap out with, and maybe we can get anti-heal later. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. We can go straight to 9 off this, which would be pretty good as well. I think you can't always be picky. You can't always be picky, and this will give us BIS Riven and good item Gwen. I think we have great items on Gwen here as well, and Gwen eventually can turn into Blitzcrank as well, for what it's worth. So I don't really love my TK being my strongest tank here, but I'm not going to throw it away. We do have a bit of a remover item, but here at the very least we have great Nami items, great Gwen items, great Riven items. The only thing we don't have here is anti-heal, which is, again, pretty important. Yeah, everyone else has pretty good items. Hopefully this is enough to top 4. I don't think we have the strongest cap in the game like we talked about. I think No Scout has a really strong board here. Wow, that's an incredible board. We also took Varus, so I think Varus is quite a bit weaker than Asol in general, but maybe on Space Groove it's not that big of a deal because we get a bunch of AD and AP anyway, so health is pretty good. So yeah, I think we will get a wrap here, maybe with Riven. I was wondering if JG is already better on Riven. They changed Space Groove, so while you can go infinite, the Space Groove spat on Riven isn't crazy. Here they allowed me to wrap. They gave me a unit to kind of jump to with the Zoe over here, so I think that was a big mistake from them. And also they only have 2 item Leona. If your main tank only has 2 items at this point, that's really, really bad. Arguably, it's not good on my side that I have not a 2-star tank or B real 3 item tank, but I think we have kind of acceptable items on him, but probably not the best to say for sure. So I think ideally this guy wants to be Blitzcrank, and I'm thinking here maybe Rost is the best level. I have a bunch of traits here, I have a bunch of emblems. That would be pretty good to do. Again, I'm not super keen on the fact that I'm in Space Groove. It's not one of the best comps, but hopefully you see if I hit my board uncontested, it is still a strong board. So even if, you know, the comp isn't strong, it's what we're closest to. We had like a Gwen pair, we were holding Samira's and Ornn or something like that in stage 3. So think always about what you're closest to. We could have, like, you know, re-rolled, got a Dark Star spat, used my 2 Reforgers to try to hit some crazy comp, but this also felt really close as well. So I'm always just a believer in playing reasonably. And if you play things from good spots, even though this Dark Star comp is really good, we see that we're really close to beating it. They're stuck on 7, and I think we have a pretty good chance of beating them in the future, right? In fact, if we just had this, I think we would have won for sure. All that being said, I think Ross is my next in. We definitely don't want to sell it. People think they come back. This just costs 1 gold to keep the Ross. I think everyone's like, oh, we got to make the gold. This is my next in. I really want to keep what I believe my next in is going to be. I think we could have been holding on to Nami 3 as an out, but I, again, believe in not playing gamble TFT, but really solid TFT. I think we should be on the other side. Maybe put my Tahm Kench in the middle, hedge the difference. So it was a Corki in the middle, the Belbef in the middle, and then this guy, this guy was on the left side with his Yi and his Vex. So I feel like Tahm Kench middle or left was going to be okay there most of the time. My Tahm Kench doesn't have real items. We, again, really badly need anti-heal. So that is something we're going to try to get at some point in the future. It sucks that we don't have it now. We should have possibly thought about more salvage stuff, but it's really hard to think about all the salvage stuff in one turn, so I'm gonna give myself some forgiveness, as should all of you when you play this game. I know I run a Disciples group, and people are really hard on themselves. They're very serious about the game, but being serious about the game doesn't always mean that we need to be hard on ourselves. I think QSS would make a ton of sense. We could probably break this down into Morellos. Yeah, we could break this down into Morellos, but we actually have no more, what's it called? So I think we actually have to do this, right? Wow, that's really good. This gives us more traits. Let's look for... Nope, nothing here. We could break this down a bit later and just Warmogs my Gwen now to guarantee it. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. It's not strong on my current board, but maybe I could think about it a bit later. But I think Belt is not going to be that bad here. It can make Guard Breaker as well, which I'm quite keen on here. We could have leveled for Rost. I was just busy yapping as per usual. We are off interval, so, you know, if we think we can cap out higher, we can definitely do that. Warmog's Gwen doesn't make a lot of sense here, but I'm looking for the salvage in a couple turns and then playing around my Blitzcrank, hopefully Blitzcrank 2 in the future. So I am game planning a little bit. I do know that the matchups you really do want anti-heal at this point in the game for sure, and I have not been able to do that. We could sack 2 here. I think it's pretty reasonable to sack 2 here, actually. Because really my goal is to hit Blitzcrank 2, and I need to really optimize my chances. Gwen has been doing a great job. A great job. Just to be clear, kudos to Gwen. But, you know, there's an argument that this level is fairly cheap as well, and we can start killing off some people. But cheap and very, very good. So I could buy into both arguments here. I could definitely buy into both arguments here. But I'm going to go ahead and greed. I'm at 51 HP. I feel fairly strong. We'll be even interval. We're going to get 2 gold here and then 2 golds on the next one for leveling. So I'm just going to be totally okay with it, you know, going into the future. I think I just really want 2-star Blitzcrank. Here they allow us to get the wrap. You really need to not have units walk up here. Like they had units over here that my Riven could wrap. Obviously my Blitzcrank also through this, but this Leon is healing a lot, but this being the last tank alive is just like really disastrous for this player, right? It's really, really disastrous for this player. We want to level on interval. We want to maximize our gold here. Those are the most important things that we are thinking about here. And hey, Nasus 2 is pretty good. So here, I'm pretty set with my board. I'm not going to think too hard. I guess you could think about Morgana instead of Rost. I think Rost is generally better than Morgana. Morgana 2 with items is good. We're going to salvage this and start putting items on my Blitzcrank here is kind of the most important thing. He might be a utility Blitz, so, you know, take that for what it is. But I think items are better than no items. And you have to have utility on someone. Blitzcrank's actually pretty good with utility, although, you know, he obviously wants to be a carry himself, if possible. Wow. I think a lot of people would think about going 9 here. We're gonna remove that. But I think Blitzcrank 2 is just where our cap is gonna be at the end of the day. We probably could have been thinking about 3-star forecast. In fact, is the reason I'm getting so many 3-star forecasts because I'm gonna play solid TFT and I think I can win the game like this. So we're going to have a utility-based Blitzcrank here. Gonna give him this. Sorry. Void Staff. Morello. Guard. Probably Guard on him. Void Staff on him. We're gonna Morello my Gwen later. Sorry about this being incredibly slow. We did not have most of my items slammed at the beginning of the fight, so we want to put my best items on my best unit. Void Staff is kind of tough because either way, I mean, in my opinion here, we should probably just be rolling for Shen. But we could also just go 9. I think that this is probably the final fight. I don't really know who uses Morello very well. I think Shen 2 would, so I think I want to roll for it. And more importantly, I don't think I need to cap much higher in this game. But you can miss. So we will Morello my Gwen. This long term seems better. I think Gwen's hitting like 1 unit. I need to anti-heal the whole board. Shen against this melee matchup seems like he'll anti-heal the whole board, which is really nice. So we didn't get exactly the best tank items or anything, but we do have great Blitzcrank items, great Riven items, great Nami items. So we got enough cooking here, even though, excuse me, even though the comp isn't the best, I think you always play what's closest to your spots. And Space Group was a lot closer. We would have to get really lucky on Reforges to do something else. And if you're a bit risk intolerant there, I think going towards Space Group, using 2 of the good spats that you already have, it's pretty much last round. We probably shouldn't be donkey rolling at any point, but I was kind of wanting to just explain and yeah, mostly just wanting to explain. I think here we can just not give my Nami the thing instead. How does that sound? Sounds good to me. We should just position for this last fight, but looks like it should be a fairly easy fight. Hopefully, I feel really strong. I know they have the Cosmic Drake. If they hit Bard 2, we could have been denying. I kind of was playing the endgame very, let's just say, as a silly boy. But I think it's completely fine. I saw that no one was capping incredibly high. I say that while I'm losing. So maybe... Wait. No, we're fine. I'm the worst fight judger in the world. All 4 of my carries are alive. Yeah, hopefully you see that we can just play solidly, take a little bit less risk. We were closer to Space Crew, so even though it got nerfed, we still had a lot of good power there, and I think that's really important. Always do what's closest to your board, and think about the odds there. Me reforging 2 good emblems twice, I have better odds with 2 reforgers, but it's not that good, right? And as always, please like and subscribe. It really helps me out. So thank you guys all for watching, and I hope you all have a great day.